Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Unyielding Courage. I'm Amy Pease, host of the Passion from Pain podcast, where I spotlight powerful voices from around the globe. I help individuals overcome themselves in the aftermath of leaving toxicity, abuse, or trauma behind. And I'm honored to be selected as an interviewer for this international summit featuring 100 plus inspiring stories of transformation and rebirth. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Ms. Erica Elliott, who has turned her life experience into a powerful mission to help others. Her story of rebirth is one that will move, inspire, and empower you. Erica is a remarkable figure in the fields of literature, entrepreneurship, and community engagement. And, as a celebrated author with 11 international bestsellers, and more books coming out soon. She's captivated audience as a sought-after speaker and is preparing to launch her upcoming television series, The Masterpiece You Are. Her impressive background includes over 12 years of military service as a behavioral science specialist. Erica also holds a master's degree in counseling, psychology, and is a certified trauma therapist and brings more than 35 years experience to her work. She's also the founder of Warrior Heart Healing Hearts LLC. She provides numerous mental health services, community support programs, and mental health initiatives. Let's welcome Erica to the conversation. Hi, Erica. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Amy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so blessed and honored to be here among all these beautiful speakers.
Yay, I love it. I love it. So let's just get right into it and start at the beginning. What was life like before your transformation?
So,
Describe the situation emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, even. Help us feel where you were.
so mine is a little different. So I feel like my journey, my whole life has been a journey of transformation. I actually was given away when I was 10 months old to my grandparents from my mom. And my grandfather tried to talk my mom into having an abortion. So I feel like my whole life has been one of those of like, life saying you shouldn't be here, and God saying, yes, you are, and I've got a plan for you. And so even at an early age, I remember my great grandmother, I was grateful, lived across the street, moved down there when I went to live with my grandparents. And she was like, I would just describe her like Mother Teresa kind of thing. Like she loved people, she believed in people, she was a God-fearing woman. Until I was 8, she lived there and I lived with her. And then when she moved away, some things all transitioned in my life and it just was really dark. And my grandfather was an alcoholic, and my grandmother very abusive, and just a very dark time in my life. And I remember even asking God, I was like maybe around 9 years old or so, and I remember saying, God, if heaven is so amazing, if you are so good, why would you let me live on this earth? And I felt this spirit speak to me that he said, I will be your father and I have good plans for you. And it didn't take away all the drama and the trauma and all the crap that I went through, but it gave me a sense of peace along the way. And I had neighbors who took me to church and all that, and that helped so much. But truthfully, God called me to be a counselor when I was 12. And truthfully, like my life felt like it was really good, except there was a lot of programming stuff and that was in the way. I always say we have this program up here from life and it's in the way. And my life was really great until 5 years ago when I had COVID. When I had COVID, my body crashed so bad that once again I'm laying on the couch and I was so sick. I had migraines so bad I had a brain injury. I couldn't form words very well. So I went from six figures, having my own private practice, also working for the federal government full time as a trauma counselor with combat vets and their families, feeling like I'm really living the life, have an amazing husband and family. And I went through a crash. And I remember laying on the couch once again, this time I was like, God, I don't think I can do this the rest of my life, because I was in so much pain and agony. My brain felt like it was just exploding from the way that it felt like they said it could have been like seizures based on the type of migraines I was having. And here God was. This time it wasn't quite so compassionate. It was like, that's not what you told your daughter when she almost died.
Oh, wow.
I was like shocked. It was like, oh, I was looking for the compassionate God like when I was 8 or 9. And it was more like the firm God who said, you can do this.
Yeah.
You've done it before. So it was a lot different this time, but also still very traumatic. But
Sure.
yeah, so that's a little taste of the transition of where I was from there.
Awesome. And sometimes God just needs to slap us upside the head with the truth we need to hear sometimes, and he does that. So
Amen.
what was your breaking point though? I mean, what was there a major moment or situation that forced a change? Kind of what happened?
Yeah, because physically I could not walk 10, 15 feet without being out of breath. I had panic attacks driving. The brain injury that had happened was so bad that it just was so debilitating that I couldn't work anymore. I was barely hanging on. I was literally on the couch laying down trying to do sessions. They can't see me, and I'm like trying to do session because this is during COVID and my heart is for people. And so I'm worried about the other people. So I'm like trying to do sessions, pretending like I'm okay. And then once the session's over, like laying down for 2 or 3 hours. And then when I called out to God and said, I can't do this any longer, and He affirmed that I could, because 8 years before, my daughter almost died from multi-drug resistant bacteria, and I said, not today, Satan. Like, no way. I hit my knees, and through prayer and everything, today she has two beautiful children, an amazing life. So, I know the God that I serve, and I know that he is able. But when you're in that situation, it's like, oh my God, I mean, it felt debilitating. I was under so much fatigue. I thought, I don't want to live like in so much pain throughout my body. But when I called out, I said finally, okay, if this is my Paul moment, you're going to have to teach me how to live through this because this is hard. Like, this is excruciating. I don't know how to do this. And he did. It was like little micro steps. I always tell people I used to teach a lot about chunking of times because I'm ADD, and I've taught a lot of people with neurodivergent too and brain injuries. I've worked with tons of brain injuries over the path. And so you teach a lot on chunking time, like, do something for a period of time. But God showed me to do it in micro steps. And I've even, written some papers about that and wrote that in some books about micro steps. Sometimes it's 5 minutes you do something. Sometimes it's 1 minute, just sinking into the breath for 1 minute. Sometimes it's just doing a meditation for 1 minute. And then as I continued to be gentle with myself, doing some of these little tools that God had showed me that I've worked with people over the years, but in micro steps, then it's like he started bringing the right people in my life. And so he led me to contact Dr. Amen's clinic. And Dr. Amen, if people don't know who he is a neuropsychiatrist who is one of the ones who helped found the rules for traumatic brain injuries for like football and sports injuries and things like that, and making sure that if they have concussive syndrome that they sit down and take a break, because if you have like a blackout and then you go out and you get another head injury, the chances of you dying or having within a certain period of time is like much stronger. So like he was a part of that foundation, and
Okay.
I'm trained as his stuff, Dr. Amon's stuff that I gotten trained in years ago. So anyway, sorry, I'll go back and let you.
Oh, you're perfect. You're doing just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
What did your transformation feel like then? I mean, take us through the internal process that you went through, the fears, the breakthroughs, the healing, decisions, the steps forward that you pushed yourself through.
So he led me to to contact Dr. Amos. I'm like, I don't even know if there's one near me. Like, I knew there was ones in California and Washington, and I'd never been to the clinic itself, but I'd been trained in Dr. Amen's stuff years ago. And I'm still a brain coach, brain health coach from Dr. Amen's stuff. he led me when I went there, they found the brain injury. Like I'm like, when you go through MRIs, it's a little different. Sometimes they don't always see the full injury, but after SPECT scanning, they're like, "Oh yeah, you have an injury in your brain." And I was like, so first off, sometimes it's like when somebody's helping you confirm, because back then nobody understood post-COVID syndrome stuff, and everybody's going, "Oh, well, this is just post-COVID syndrome, and give it 6 months." Well, by now it's 8, 9 months, and I'm not better, and I have hyperkalemia and these autoimmune, and I'm having word finding problems and memory problems, and so they prescribed me hyperbarics. So I started doing hyperbarics. I don't have it in my office now. I was able to move that out. That's been a transformation, but I was doing hyperbarics like every single day. And as I began to get better, one of the things that God really dealt with me with was loving my body through this. So anybody who's ever been through anything where you are going through healing processes, if you got that suck it up, drive on, my military side of me who goes push, 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 that didn't work anymore. I knew how to push, but pushing would put me down 2 or 3 days longer or hours longer. But if I would do the little micro steps and I would be gentle and loving with my brain and body, it was like God started showing me things out of that I was like, I even remember saying like, God was laying on my heart writing this book, Breath of Heaven Manifesting God's Way. And I'm like, no, I don't want to write that book. Any book but that. Any book but about, because people don't understand manifesting and they start, being mean about it and think you're like evil or of the devil or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And God's like, no, I want you to write this book. I'm like, and then I'm like, so if I know how to manifest, because my daughter used to say all the time, especially after her healing and during her healing, that I'm the manifest queen. And I'm like, if I manifest, how in the heck did I manifest this? And
Yeah.
God showed me, I literally used my body like a Mack truck. I didn't respect my body. I used it like a Mack truck. I used it like a cleaning rag through life, always that push, suck it up. I knew how to work, but work was not what I needed to do. I needed to rest and allow God to line it up. And that became something different.
And that's the hard one to do. That's the hard one to figure out. Absolutely. So who or what supported you on this journey? Did you have people, faith, tools,
Oh,
or practices that really carried you through this?
oh yeah, lots. I mean, I had, like I said, my life was really good before that. And
Yeah.
gratefully, my husband was so wonderful during all this time. First and foremost, God. Like, I mean, honestly, couldn't do life without God. And I'm so grateful he's in my life. One of my favorite tools is a tool that I teach people is the meta prayer, like really doing a meta prayer towards your own body, to your own system, praying over. I did a lot of meditation stuff back when I helped my daughter go through her healing process. I created meditations and even healing scriptures around her body healing all the way from the top of and appreciating all your body parts and healing all those body parts. And so, and then going over scriptures of, healing scriptures and things like that and putting all that into a meditation and then listening to it over and over and over again. I already did a lot of meditation and things like that before I got sick. So it was more of a like, doing the tools myself more on a healing journey and then doing it differently, like really learning how to line up and listen to my body instead of that like go 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 until the end of the day until you crash and
Yeah.
then trying to figure it out. Instead it was more like tuning in and saying, okay, God, what do you want from me today? How do I serve you? What, when I have a client live through me, and I always prayed before sessions and things like that, but I would do this differently. It was more like, I think before I would think about life as like, oh, I would go look for clients, find clients, market for clients. And today it was more like the right client people will come into my, and they do. And I'm like, sometimes I'm mind blown by all the things. In the last 2.5 years, like I didn't write until after the brain injury. And today I'm a million times better than I was then. But if I get too fatigued, sometimes I'll still have a little bit of those difficulties. But it's just incredible. If you let God work through these things, I say, if you let God work through the mess, clear up the mess, you will find the masterpiece underneath. You are always created to be a masterpiece. It's just all this programming that happens in life. And my programming was work. Even in high school, I worked 5 jobs my senior year in high school because I wanted to figure out a way out of life so I could work and make money. That was easy.
Beautiful.
Allowing
Yeah.
God was a whole different story. And then things started manifesting in ways that I was like, oh, that's magic. That's the loaves and fishes. That's the loaves and fishes. It's not the me doing, it's the allowing and God doing. 7 months into the journey, my daughter and I started just going out and having fun and pretend like we had mini vacations to get out of the house for our mental health. And out of that came a business. People were like, oh my gosh, you've encouraged me so much. How much do you charge for marketing? And my daughter was finishing her marketing degree. So it was like, oh, look at the magic. And then 7 months after that, my husband came home and he said, I'm going to retire here soon. I think we should buy a yacht and go travel and do the Great Loop for a year.
Yeah.
So we did. We traveled the ocean for a year. I'm like, at first I'm like, wait, I'm still healing. And God was like, you said you wanted to travel. You wanted to be on the ocean. I'm like, I mean, the magic that happened, I'm like, still, like, I can't do this stuff. This is the miracles. And that's God.
Amazing, amazing story. Oh my goodness, I love it. I know you're inspiring people today. So where are you on your journey now? Tell us how your life has changed and what is different today.
So a lot of things different. One is I really do try to tune into, is this a good thing or a God thing? I
Okay.
used to say that a lot,
Yeah.
teaching people, but I don't think I practiced it very well because I
Right.
felt like I had all the energy and I could do it all. Oh,
Yeah.
you want to do 10 different things? I would do those things. And today it's more about alignment and like, is this what God wants me to do? And is this clearly in the place that I feel like is going towards the purpose God has for my life? And
Yeah.
because of that, like he's opened doors that I honestly like I could not have opened on my own. Like they just they come to me. People come to me and will go, "Hey, I'm looking for a speaker. I was wondering if you'd come speak." And I'm like, "Oh, like that's the magic. That's God." Like I can't outgive God. I can't outgive God. Like I just keep saying, okay, here I am, God, and He keeps opening the doors. And so now I have 13 different books out, and they've all been bestsellers, and I have to give like God so much glory. And so most of my life is really on the speaking side of life now, and writing. I do also do a little bit of coaching on the side and counseling, but it's a smaller portion of my life now, and I'm moving in to only doing the speaking and writing and doing just a little bit of coaching on the side of group coaching. I have 2 group coaching courses coming out, and I'm speaking at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in at a She Wins Summit in September. I mean, sorry, September. No, sorry, no, the November 8th, and then another time in February to over 40,000 people. And I'm like, I still keep going. Is this my life? And doing a workshop. I'm like, okay. And I do a lot of things free in my community too. I do a lot of things with I'm a co-founder of Healing and Truth Retreat with for domestic violence survivors. And, I really feel like that's important to give back to your community to make sure that, there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to do life and don't feel like they can afford those things. So I have a lot of give back things where I do just free workshops and things like that in the community too.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. You are super, super busy in all of it, but I can tell totally driven by purpose and passion and faith. And I love it. What message do you have for someone that's still stuck in pain? If someone is listening who is where you used to be, what do you want to tell them?
I want to look you in the eye and say, you're not broken.
Mhm.
You're not too stuck. It's not too late. You're not too old.
Yeah.
You can do magnificent things. Sink in, ask God to show you, to open up the doors clearly, to have a coach or counselor or mentor in your life to help guide you in these things. But first off, sink in, get really clear. God, what do you want for my life? And truly listen. Like, we can't listen when we're talking. You got to
Right.
really, truly, that's what meditation is about. It's about getting that clear mind and going, okay, here it is, God. And get clear. I got clear. Like, I wrote out my vision board, and I will say everything on my vision board, I mean, came true. Everything on my vision. Like,
Wow.
I encourage people to do a vision board, and it's because your reticular activating system gets ignited by your vision board. Like, get clear, what do I want? And then asking God, if it's not of your will, help me to move that off of there and move on what is on your will. I promise you, God will bring you those right people. You are a masterpiece underneath all of the mess. That mess is just these programs that we've been programmed into. And as you clear that mess, you will come into the masterpiece that you are. Be blessed and be a
Wow.
blessing.
Amazing, amazing story, amazing advice. I love everything that you've got going on. It's just, it's amazing. I don't have another word right now. Thank you so much, Erica, for sharing your heart and your powerful story. You know, your journey is a beacon of hope for others. This has been another incredible conversation on the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Unyielding Courage. I'm Amy Pease, and it's been such an honor to host this interview as part of this global movement in healing and transformation. And stay tuned for more interviews from courageous speakers all around the world. And until next time, this is Rebirth TV signing off. Love you guys.